All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to a not so normal Red Iron Power Hours. Today's topic, today's topic, athletes in trouble. The trouble that they go through on a daily basis. Now, folks, I know you have been listening to several of my podcasts, and 9 times out of 10, it might be nonsensical, but half the things I would say do make sense. Athletes face trouble on a day-to-day basis. Whether it's on the field antics like stepping on a player, hitting somebody with the head, and doing a lot of unsportsmanlike penalties that will get them ejected, to off-field trouble like not practicing social distancing, refusing to get a COVID shot, or in some athletes' case, killing somebody, robbing somebody, beating up somebody, and hiring somebody to do the killing for you. No matter what you think or what you say, whether you're an athlete, an actor, or a regular person, consequences and trouble will follow you no matter where you go and no matter what you do. In my case in point will be Aaron Hernandez, and we already knew what happened to him. Because his consequence was killing the brother of his own fiance. He shot her fiance's brother over some money. And with that, he lost his entire football career. And then also, in essence, he also wound up losing his life behind bars.
Speaking of stupidity, I want to take this to the field for a moment instead of off the field. I want to go back to last night.
Oh boy.
2 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And the Giants were leading. All the Giants had to do offensively was basically one small little thing. Pick up one first down and make the football team have to use that last timeout. But not only did they fail to pick up yardage, they basically went 3 downs and out.
Oh, Jesus.
And the bad thing is, the clock stopped at the 2-minute warning when they missed on third down, which meant the clock stopped, 2-minute warning, and Washington did not have to use that last timeout. If you are a football team worth your salt, you have to make the opponent use that last timeout by any means necessary. You have to put them in a spot where if they get the ball, they will not have a lot of time left.
So instead, they went backwards.
And with the Giants failing to do that, gave Washington more than enough time with a timeout. And Tucker missed a 48-yard field goal, but he got a reprieve because another mistake was on the defensive side of the ball. With Justin Lawrence.
And right now,
jumping, when he jumped offside to try to block it.
Found out that today that the Saints is going to be without 7 of their coaches.
Yep, because of COVID.
Yep. 6 offensive coaches and 1 special teams coach. And right now, it's the David Mills show up in Houston.
But if you're a coach, if you're a player that test negative more than one day in a row, to be allowed back in the facilities, to be allowed to travel with the team. But I think you have to not have a negative test like 2 or 3 times by the day before the game, either Saturday or the day of.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you have to be COVID-free and symptom-free in order to be with the team, I think, the night before the game.
Yeah, and we found out that Will Fuller V will be out of his game against the Bills Sunday for personal reasons. As for what those personal reasons are, don't know. But here's one thing. The NFL is cracking down on players and coaching staff not following the rules. That includes getting the COVID shot and practicing social distancing and wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
So basically right now, the Raiders is basically watching their step so they won't get fined like they did last season. I mean, they lost $500,000 and a couple of draft picks.
Knowing the Raiders like we do, the Raiders will do something stupid. They always have. They're the Raiders, after all.
Yeah, they're the Las Vegas Raiders.
But no matter if they're in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Oakland, they will always be renegades.
Mm-hmm.
And they will always find a way to try to skirt the rules.
And as of right now, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are leading the Toronto Argonauts by the score of 15-3 in the second quarter.
In Canadian Football League, actual.
Yep, and it's on right now. Yep.
Any games that stunned you from week 1, and what games you got your eye on for?
What stunned me from week 1 was the Titans home opening game. Titans.
Or in this case, the pathetic excuse of a performance the starters put up. No snaps in the preseason. And all you could manage was 13 points. And boy, it showed.
Yep. In former news, former defensive tackle Roger Brown had passed away today at the age of 84.
Who passed away today?
Roger Brown, a 6-time Pro Bowler who played 10 seasons in the NFL, 7 with the Rams, 3 with the Lions. Yeah, he died today.
I did not know this.
Yeah, ESPN just announced it.
Oh man, I didn't see. I had to go look at my Twitter timeline and see, what's up there. I had to go look at it. I didn't get a chance to see it.
This was streaming across right during the Toronto Saskatchewan game. I'm looking at it right now. And it looks like the Toronto Argonauts got called for unnecessary roughness. And Central Florida falls to Louisville by a score of 42-35. Maryland and Illinois are still playing. It's 13-11 in the third quarter. The score is 10-3 in favor of the Terrapins. In favor of the Terrapins. Illinois is behind by a touchdown.
I'm wanting to see, can Buffalo bounce back from week 2, or was week 1 something Buffalo cannot recover from? Green Bay Monday night against Detroit.
Yep. Saturday night football game, the Auburn Tigers versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. I want to see if Auburn can actually knock the smirk off of James Franklin's face.
Does Auburn have the wherewithal to go on the road against a nationally ranked team and pick up a quality win for the resume?
Oh man,
The College Football Playoff Committee sit up and take notice.
And then another news from the NFL: Saints defensive end Everson Griffin. Well, now Vikings defensive end Everson Griffin is going to be out in Week 3 against the Cardinals. Apparently, after he swerved the Mysterio, he got a concussion in a car crash.
Back to the college game. Can Vanderbilt carry over the win in the wee hours of the morning at Colorado State and start putting things on top of each other? Can they start putting successes on top of each other against a good Pac-12 football team?
We'll have to watch that type of game and see what happens. Last weekend, I saw two historical black colleges go head to head, and it was more one-sided than you seem to think. It was the battle of the first-year coaches as Deion Sanders and Jackson State took on Eddie George and the TSU Tigers. And
speaking of those,
long story short, TSU got embarrassed. TSU got embarrassed.
And speaking of Tennessee State, what type of Tennessee State team?
What are we looking at?
What Tennessee State team will be on the field this coming up Saturday? Can TSU find an identity? Can they find a QB that can run a whole game?
Yeah.
They've got the pieces. They just got to figure out what their identity is and who they are.
And tonight was a special night for WWE superstar Bianca Belair, as tonight was her homecoming night. Yes, Mom. Froze. And we ain't got no break.
Patriots and Jets, battle of the youngins.
Huh?
Look better.
No. Yeah, and it's also, like I said before, tonight was a homecoming for Bianca Belair, as a Hall of Famer came, the mayor of Johnson City, well, the mayor of Knox County, to be precise, gave her the key to the city today.
There's a couple of other good NFL games I'm looking forward to seeing this week. The battle of the youngins. Jets and Patriots. Mac Jones against Zach Wilson. And also, will Tennessee look better going cross country than the garbage that they put up at home?
Let's hope so, because they need to bounce back from this. They are the reigning, defending AFC South Division champs, and they don't need the Texans coming.
Right now, they are trailing Houston Texans right now. The team that everybody thought would have no wins or less than 4. They already have one in the division over everybody else.
That was probably because Deshaun Watson's not playing. Saturday afternoon game is the Tulsa Greenway versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. And that's tomorrow afternoon. And right now they just went to halftime with Toronto trailing behind Saskatchewan by 15 points. It's halftime. And Auburn, this is Auburn's second. Here's a little well-known fact. This will be Auburn's second time visiting a Big 12 school. They hadn't visited a Big 12 school since 1931.
And Oklahoma's playing Nebraska for the first time in God knows how long.
And that's 90. That's 90 years. That's 90 years of pent-up frustration. Louise.
Yeah, tried since 1922.
Let's see. Right now, Toronto only has 3 points. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan is playing like the New England Patriots of the Canadian Football League. Now, as you also well know, that the battle between Maryland and Illinois.
What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the iHeart story that I sent you with Dan Patrick thinking the Giants could be in trouble? We're talking about the New York Giants.
I read it, believe it or not, and I'm going to say I'm not surprised.
Me neither.
The Giants is always going to have problems.
But see, the thing is, the Giants overreached for their quarterback. Daniel Jones could have been picked much later than he was. And if you get the quarterback wrong, you're setting yourself back years.
Yep.
The Giants haven't had it right since Eli.
Nope.
But look, their quarterback, he's okay. He's not spectacular. They needed another Eli Manning prototype, so they didn't lose what they have, because now they've lost their way. They don't have that Eli Manning QB that can stand back there, read the field.
Yep. And the Dirty Birds didn't fare so hot against the Seahawks Sunday. Did not fare at all.
Here's what I'm wondering. Do you think the Giants would make a play for Garoppolo that would fit them better than a Daniel Jones? I know the contract for the 49ers, Garoppolo, was high. But would the Giants put a package together, trade one of their backup quarterbacks? Would Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers staff be willing to make that type of trade to get a Garoppolo and put Trey Lance in there so, to let him go? Or do you stand pat with Garoppolo and keep that rotating quarterback system going with Garoppolo and Lance so they don't know who's coming in?
But, well, here's the thing. If you're owner of the team, it all comes down to strategy and strategic maneuvering.
That's what I mean.
Which means there is no room, and there's no room for errors and screw-ups.
If you're in the Giants ownership position, do you make that trade? Because
in order to get Garoppolo and pay for what Garoppolo is asking for, here's some things that the Giants will have to do. They'll have to trade away a very decent running back and several of their draft picks in next year's draft in order to get him. Or they can go the Titans route in order to get him. They wouldn't have to trade nobody out. Somebody would have to take a pay cut.
If I'm Tennessee, do I make a trade or Logan Woodside and trade for another quarterback that was kind of like a McNair? Or do you stick with what you have with regular season Tannehill or last week's version of Tannehill that sucked in the playoffs and just hope and pray it turns around? Because Robin's going to have to make a move at some point.
Yeah.
Because right now, with the quarterbacks that they got, there's no future in Woodside at all.
No.
You know it, and I know.
Yep. And the only thing is, if I'm Amy Adams Strunk, I would trade Logan Burnside, and they got into week 5 to do so. And this is now week 2. They got 3 more weeks to make the trade deadline. That means I would trade Logan Woodside for a decent backup QB who can take backup from Tannehill, let Tannehill rest, and then swap back in with him. That way, this whole team is not rested on his shoulders like it was last season. Because let's face it, folks, Ryan Tannehill is 37 years old. He's 3 years away from 40.
No, yeah,
And he
this is week 1. I know Tannehill. I know Tannehill will figure it out, but he is not a mobile quarterback. And I'm just
and the reason that is you are correct. You are correct. And here's why. Because back in high school and in college, Ryan Tannehill wasn't a quarterback. He was a wideout. It was later on in college they switched him from the wideout position to the QB position, and that's what he's been stuck with since his junior year in college. Yeah, he was a high school wideout all 4 years of high school and up to his sophomore year in college. And it's from his junior year on he became a quarterback. And most people don't get it. That
of course they do.
If you got a versatile quarterback,
or if they do, they have that. It's like they have that fingers in the ears of la 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 la. I can hear you.
True. But here's another one. And I know you folks might not listening, but here it is. What do Ryan Tannehill and basically
pay attention to the facts.
What do Ryan Tannehill and basically any other player in the NFL have in common? They played other positions until they played the position they were designed to play.
Exactly. And by the way, Farmer and I, we talked about it. And he's like, the Titans need to go move Tannehill back to wide receiver. But I'm like, if you do that, what quarterback are you bringing in here?
But here's the thing.
Because the thing is, you want to know the truth about it? I don't trust on the one side at all.
But here's the thing, though. The Titans don't want to be like the Denver Broncos. And Denver Broncos had 4 quarterbacks out, and they had a wideout trying to come in to make some plays.
Would I really consider getting Drew Lock? Or do I...
Or do you make a trade, and by a pre-chance try and get Jake Locker to come out of retirement? I mean, Jake Locker was 29 when he retired, and that was the smart thing he did. Him retiring at 29 was the smartest thing he ever done. I mean, he can't take too many hits to the head.
I'm just asking the question. There, for third winner.
And like Big E's former theme song gave any indication, 3 men ain't enough. We need 5 on them. 3 ain't enough. We need 5. And speaking of Big E, he accomplished something that he done at the age of 36, a long time in his career. He's been a multiple-time tag team champion and multiple-time intercontinental champion. But the one title that eluded him the most was the heavyweight title. So recently, this past Monday, if you have watched Raw, Big E had cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, the same contract that he had held on since February. He held on to that contract for 7 months. He chose September the 13th to cash it.
Wow.
Which was a good thing.
See, remember, I've not watched wrestling since the 90s. Since at least the early 2000s when they had the Attitude Era. It was actually cool. So how could I put it? I've not really been in wrestling mode, if you will.
Yep. You haven't did hold on to your hats because here's a few things I want to tell you. That's quite shocking. Raw has new tag team champions and a somewhat new women's champion who maintained her title by acting like a jackass. A new United States champion. Meanwhile, SmackDown's got a new women's champion when the man returned.
Becky Lynch is back in the building?
Yep, as the new women's champion had been since SummerSlam.
Oh my. Becky Lynch, the man.
She came back after she done had her baby.
I know at one point, one of them had to retire at one point.
Nope. Mama and Papa are both in the building.
Oh boy.
And right now, people are kind of pissed off at Papa right now.
Why, if I may ask?
If you watched last Friday's SmackDown, he almost killed WWE Hall of Famer Edge by stepping on his surgically repaired neck.
Ow.
By doing a curb stomp and nearly paralyzing him to the waist, from the waist below. Now, if most of you have remembered, Edge had been out of action for the last 10 years because of that neck.
Yeah, he's had his neck problems.
He came back and went on to win the Royal Rumble earlier this year, just like Bianca Belair did. Because on the same night that Bianca Belair had won the Royal Rumble, she went on to WrestleMania and became the new women's champion against Sasha Banks. But here's a question. But I know what question you guys are asking. Where is Snoop Dogg's cousin Sasha Banks at right now? Right now, she's filming The Mandalorian right now. She took her injury to go and film The Mandalorian. And speaking of former women's champions, former two-time SmackDown women's champion Naomi was in some very, very hot water for what she did last week. And this goes what to me by Athletes in Trouble. She was fined for insubordination against newly WWE official Sonya Deville. How much, you ask? Try $750,000 is what she was fined for. She was fined $250,000 for insubordination.
Well, yeah, you can't leave your post.
No.
You can't not report to your spirit.
Oh, she was reporting to her. She was just mouthing off at her. And I would kind of say that being official looks good for Sonya. She makes a better official than she would a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And the WWE is trying to work hard to be more LGBT inclusive to folks like Sonya Deville and Tegan Knox.
And others.
Yep. But let's not forget though, folks. There are bound to be some fines going all over the place left and right. There's going to be some fines against the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, for what they did to the WWE Heavyweight Champion Big E just tonight. They beat him up so bad that Big E might have a torn tricep.
Wow.
They threw him against the equipment lockers.
Ow. That's not a fun place to be.
Nope.
Having to peel your body off a metal locker.
Yeah. But let's, like we said, like he said before, he's been a fan since the old way. I want to take it back to the old way when Jazz first made her appearance and faced it off against Trish Stratus. She got fined $350,000 for throwing then 4-time WWE Women's Champion Trish Stratus through a plate glass window.
Dang.
Threw her through a plate glass window and then took a big old oxygen tank and broke 5 metacarpals in her right hand.
Yeah, utter pain. Yes, utter pain.
Yeah, she picked up a metal oxygen tank and just slammed it on top of Trish's right hand. Trish's right hand was broken in 5 places. There was 5 crushed metacarpals in her right hand that was broken. And Jazz got reprimanded for that. Heck, Braun Strowman got reprimanded a lot of times. Not only for attacking officials, he destroyed the equipment truck, a cargo van, destroyed the AV truck.
What a moron. What a dipstick.
Flipped over the AV truck.
Like, dude, those are expensive vehicles.
He flipped over the Mrs. car, and even though Miz do deserve that one.
Yeah, he kind of deserved that one.
Yeah, the Miz deserved that one because, like Shane McMahon, y'all made fun of the Monster of my man. You're gonna pay for it.
Dearly.
Braun Strowman flipped the Miz's car, but what he did to Shane was 3 times worse. He flipped him right off the top of a steel cage into the announcer's table.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And folks, if you watch steel cage matches, the top of the cage to the bottom of the floor is a straight 10.5-foot drop. Mm-hmm. If he was alive now, you can ask Owen Hart how that is. But
yeah, or anybody that's climbed to the top of the cell. That's about.
No, Owen Hart didn't climb on the top of the cell.
No, we know that.
For what?
Those have actually been in the cell.
Yep.
From the top all the way down, it's about an 80-foot drop.
Undertaker slammed Mick Foley right through the top of the cage, right into the ring with a choke slam.
It was an 80-foot drop.
And of course, there was the Punjabi prison match.
Now, if you really want to go extreme, just go watch the Japanese death match.
Now, the Punjabi prison match that I'm talking about, there's like it's a 7-circle cage. Mm-hmm. The way you have to get out, you gotta run through the thing like a maze, looking for the openings to get out. And this was something that the great Khali had came up with when he was a champion. But then again, his finishing maneuver was banned after they found out by squeezing their heads it will cause severe brain hemorrhaging. Just as Rey Mysterio, he became the recipient of that one too many times because he was leaning right through the mouth after Khali was squeezing his head.
You want to close out with one for the road?
And like I said, the title was "This Athlete's in Trouble." Even Khali got into some trouble. Come to think of it, he's still in some legal trouble as they're trying to convict him of murder. They're trying to convict him of killing somebody. Even after the courts find him innocent, he never did it. They're still trying to say that he did it, even though the courts prove otherwise that he didn't. But then again, folks, athletes will go through this thing from time to time, and they're trying to shake it off. There are some things that you just can't shake off, like your past. You want to know how I know? Ask Luis Risto. He couldn't shake what he did to Billy Collins out of his mind. And it's been over 30 years since the man had died. He cost Billy Collins his boxing career by cheating. And the consequence he had to pay, his whole career was tarnished because he cheated.
Yep, that's about the size of it.
He tarnished his career by cheating. He tarnished the man's career by taking away his livelihood, by beating him to like he stole something. Because the doctor had told him he looked like he got hit with a bunch of rocks. What he
basically rocks.
Yeah. Because with that, Billy Collins was punched 450 times. 450 times. He was hit in the head and the body, and he was blind in one eye. Had a broken jaw, a couple of cracked ribs, and it cost the man his career, which also cost him to end his life at the age of 22.
Yep, we come back to that quite often, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, as always, I will get updates from Yasmin whenever she gets her stuff back together. But we will bring Night Nightmares All Access, and hopefully some people will actually get off the backside so we can actually get this meeting done. So we can start getting 2022 together in WFL.
Yep. In case in point, here's a little snippet. We're going to be like the WNFC, but we're also going to turn ourselves like into the WFA. But unlike the WFA, we're not classifying by divisions, but by the number of players.
Wait, WNFC.
We're not making people pay anything to play.
Oh, so they don't have to pay a fee to pay.
No.
To play.
No. And what I mean by the WFA is WFA has 3 divisions. We're going by the number of players that can play on the field. The bottom tier is 6-man ball. The second one is 8-man ball, and the top one is 11-man ball. Now I wonder what you're thinking. What about a team that play both? Well, we're going to call them teams straddling the fence.
But at some point, you got to decide, what championship level you're going to play on.
Yep.
You can't play for the championship at 6 and then expect to play the championship game at 8.
Well, it looks like the Toronto organizers trying to get back in this. They cut their lead in half. They cut Saskatchewan's lead in half. So the score is 18-9. They're down by half of that. They're down by 9.
In Canadian football, you can take the extra point, go for 2, or actually kick a field.
Oh, they were trying to go for 2 and they got stuffed. But here's the thing, folks. Here's a bit of advice. If you want to try to do something stupid, for the love of God, do not.
Don't let us find out, because if we do, you're not going to get the end of it.
Because if you do something stupid like eating a Carolina Reaper or doing the Toa Setting Challenge, we're going to find out about it. And then we're going to publicly humiliate you.
Pretty much.
Because it's pretty stupid, dumb, and asinine. And at the most point, dangerous as hell. Many people got more common sense not to do things like that. Who wants to eat a Carolina Reaper or put a toast?
Apparently, Miss Kennedy, some people don't have common sense. So, yeah, go figure.
Yeah. Or put the world's hottest sucker in your mouth for 5 minutes.
How about no?
No. You better ask his everyone's, aka Austin Creed.
Did they ask for their whole mouth to be exploding and had to go to the hospital for 3rd-degree burns?
No, he actually filmed this on his YouTube channel. You can actually find it on his YouTube channel, which is up, down, down. You'll find him doing the Toilet Saving Challenge, and he suffered the consequences after keeping it in his mouth for 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And when he tried to challenge the Lucha House Party to do it, let's just say Lince Dorado kept it in his mouth for a minute, 10 seconds, and went to the bathroom, and he never came back out. Cause it burned coming out the opposite end.
Alrighty, I think on that note we'll call it. So next week, depending on what time either I have a football game, if I do, or depending on what time we have,
yep,
we'll do the podcast next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So, see ya.
Bye bye.